Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie, and I believe that the right book at the right time can change lives, and that all readers should read children's literature, especially adults. So that's what we do here on the KidLit Love podcast. We celebrate all things children's literature: picture books, early readers, middle grade, and young adult novels for readers of all ages. In each episode, we'll talk with children's literature authors and discuss their books, their hopes, their dreams for readers, their writing process, and much, much more. Whether you're an adult reading to their inner child or connecting the young readers in your life with fantastic books, you've come to the right place. So grab a notebook to build your TBR, and let's get to today's episode of KidLit Love. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the KidLit Love podcast. I'm Stephanie Affinito, your KidLit loving host, inviting you back to another bookish conversation with a children's literature author. Today, I'm talking with Meredith Walker. Meredith co-founded Smart Girls, an online community that encourages young women to celebrate who they are and who they are becoming. She's here today to talk about her new book, Be Yourself and Other Bad Advice, a teen girl's guide to unlearning the rules. It may be written for teens, but it is a book we all need, and I have sticky notes covering mine everywhere, and I can't wait to talk about it with her, so we're going to jump right to the episode. Meredith, welcome to KidLit Love. I'm so glad to talk with you today.
I am so happy to be here. Thank you for having me on. I love talking about this stuff.
Yes. Well, I'm excited because even though the tagline, the subtitle of the book is A Teen's Guide to Unlearning the Rules, this 47-year-old felt like it was written for her.
That's music to my ears, actually. I love that. I feel like it's for all of us.
Yes, it is. So let's start with you. Tell listeners a bit about you and the journey you've taken to this book that we're launching together today.
Okay, I'd love to. Career-wise, I started out on a show that was a Peabody and Emmy award-winning show for kids. It was called Nick News on Nickelodeon. And part of my job there was interviewing kids all day, every day for news stories. And I flew around the country talking to people. Um, and that's when I really started noticing something happening kind of within myself. I was like, ooh, I really am interested in young people and how they're moving through the world. After that, though, I ended up being the head of the talent department at Saturday Night Live for a little while, and that was great. But the best part of being there was I met my dear friend Amy Poehler, and she and I eventually, I think it was 2008, we started the group Smart Girls, and that's when we really wanted to kind of just help offer up something, anything that would be helpful for girls going through it, like just growing up in the world. And because of that thing that we started, we were invited into a lot of great rooms and with a lot of wonderful nonprofits and people doing the research and doing all of the work to try and improve the lives of girls. And that gave me more opportunity to have more conversations with girls and hear what was going on in their life. And it's all of that mishmash together that culminated in this book and trying to hear what they were going through and what they needed the most help with and what actually did help them and putting it into a book.
And it's a book that fits in the palm of your hand, and it's beautiful. So it is filled with beautiful words and beautiful advice and activities and some journaling. But I think the beautiful look of it just makes it something that you can keep close by. You can have your colorful sticky notes in. It's definitely something to be displayed at and used over and over and over again. As you know, I don't dog ear my books, but there are some here that are dog eared because I know I'm going to go back to those pages.
I'm so glad that you are. And I totally agree. It's one that kind of like if I lived in New York, I would want to be carrying this on the subway. It's like it's colorful. I like it. I like opening it and looking at it. And even the font makes me want to keep reading. I think the design really helps in the mission.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I already mentioned the subtitle, A Teen Girl's Guide to Unlearning the Rules. So tell us about kind of the main essence of this book is, you know, learning how to think for yourself, figuring out those rules. When those rules don't work, what are your own rules?
Right.
Tell us about the main essence that if readers pick this up, what are they going to find inside?
Well, first they're going to find themselves inside because you really it's a process of discovery. You're getting to know yourself as you go through this book. And if you're a little bit older and going through it, you're kind of touching back it, you're checking back in with yourself and checking to see where you are on some stuff because it's kind of easy in life to go on autopilot. I also think when you're younger, a lot of times you'll read like people lose themselves. I think what young people do more than lose themselves is they override themselves. And because, your biology, the biology of adolescence is telling you to fit in. And sometimes you'll do that thinking you'll make decisions and act in a way because you're just trying to fit in, but you don't feel great about it. You don't feel great about what you did. And, um, and so kind of just coming away with a better understanding of your values and how you handle emotions and what they're trying to tell you and a better sense of your interior world. You're going to be building a life that actually fits you instead of one that's kind of being heaped onto you by expectations of others.
That was the message I loved right from the start that this is you, this is the book, this is perhaps a notebook or a journal, and it is a conversation of one because the answers are inside of you. You don't have to look on social media, you don't have to ask someone else, you don't have to go outside of yourself like so many of us have done or have been trained to do, that conversation of one, that's where it begins, which means every single one of us, no matter where we are, who we are, where we live, what we have, what we don't, we can do it. We can access it. And I, as someone who's a lifelong notebooker and a lifelong journaler, I just felt that in my bones. You're right. You just need to allow yourself to think, to sit, to be, and then actually just to listen and have confidence in what comes out on the other side. So I really love that. You don't have to have the answers. You just have to ask the right questions as you talk about in the book.
Yes, and there are so many times when I just didn't know the questions to ask myself. That's the other
Yeah.
thing. Sometimes that's why there's a good prompt is excellent. Even now, it can just help you get started on that process.
Yeah. Now, is it okay if I list a couple of the chapter titles to give listeners an overview? Okay.
Yes.
So I loved the first one. Be yourself. Okay. But how do I actually do that? We've got chapter 2. What is this feeling and what can I do about it? Valuing your values is valuable. I
Yep.
practiced saying that one so that I didn't stumble over that. But then also purpose versus passion. What actually is success? And the one that I think I was very glad I didn't need as a child, but I know my own kids do, is social media. Scroll smarter. So when you think of these chapters and these different, lessons, these different things for girls to think about, are these from your many, many hours of interviewing I almost said students, I'm a teacher, from interviewing um, girls? Is it your own experience? Like, are there hints of your own teen girlhood here? I would love to know how the book shaped into what it is looking like right now.
I love this question. Well, first of all, it does, it is like, teacher heal thyself kind of like, or is it, wait,
Yeah,
is it, can you say that or is it doctor?
I think it works. So I think you
Either
should
way,
go
it's
with it.
heal thyself. Okay, that's the
Yeah.
part you're.
You teach what you need to learn most, something like
Yeah,
that too.
well, let's use that one because it's true. Like as much as I think I'm so well adjusted and here I am, this adult version of who I wanted to be and all that, it could still be a kick in the stomach if you find out someone said something behind your back or you were missed out on something or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and that's because when we're going through that stage, we don't have, or we certainly didn't have all of the tools to understand what was happening and why our reaction was so intense or whatever it was. And so there are aspects of that about like, oh, that was extra hard for me. So let's definitely cover that. But more than that, much more than that, there have been so many newer studies and so much more research done on adolescence, on going through adolescence, especially particularly for girls. For a long time, there wasn't that much. There was a great book called Reviving Ophelia, which really kind of gathered a lot of knowledge about what adolescence is like for a girl, and that was in the 90s, I want to say. And then there wasn't just a ton, but I want to say in the last 10 years, 15 years, there has been so much more information about exactly what's going on, why something can feel so dramatic or hard,
Yeah.
what kind of makes it more challenging to get through adolescence, which lasts until much longer than we used to think. It's
Yeah.
deep into your 20s. Um, and so kind of that's what really made the most difference on the chapters that I chose, are the things that are really the obstacles or the most challenging kind of aspects of girlhood right now, including social media.
Yeah. That one really is a hard one. And I think it's one that probably every adult could probably use that reminder too, which is why, again, I feel like I want to say so many times throughout this episode that this is a book written for teens, but it is a book for everyone to just take stock and check back in and how are you feeling? Where are you going next? It's that kind of book that invites that reflection. And I love there's a couple of things, of course, that I love, but I love the opportunities to actually get my notebook out and to jot some things down. You have some very concrete, practical steps. One that I loved, especially as I think, what is this next phase? What does this next season look like for me?
Mhm.
Is to name your heroes and to think about what that shows you about, what you like, what you value, what that might mean for you. I love the very practical nature because, you can come to a book and it can read really well and it can feel really good and be really inspiring, but sometimes when you turn that last page, you still don't have the practical next step, like you said in chapter one, like be yourself. How the heck do I do that?
Yeah, show me
And
how. Yeah.
yeah, and this book is just filled with those practical steps. So as a notebooker, as someone who loves to put pen to paper to make something stick, this really made this book an active experience for me.
I'm so happy to hear that. That's exactly, yay, that it worked, because that's what it's supposed to
Yeah.
be. It's supposed to be something that you can really spend some time on, and it is practical. You can really use it and learn from it and come away with something from it for that reason. Because I totally agree. I love reading things that are about self-understanding and all kinds of good things, but it's not until it's presented in a certain way or a question is asked in a certain way, asked of me to answer, until I can really click with it sometimes.
Yeah. Now I read the book cover to cover because that's just how my rule breaking mind just rolls that way. But how do you envision someone picking up this book and diving in?
I love this question. Because I was the kind of kid that I really enjoyed reading the encyclopedia for fun. Like I would, I liked just reading about little things here and there.
Yeah.
And so I think that's, if you're just interested in one of the subjects, start there. That's great. If you're actually going through something and you think, oh my gosh, I really need to like get a handle on some social media right now, or I don't even know what the word values means, I got to look into this, or I
Yeah.
made a big mistake, I'm going to read the chapter about mistakes and failure. Um, that is totally great too. It doesn't need to go in any certain order, and you can digest one chapter at a time, or like we do sometimes, just read it all the way through and then go back to it when you want a little refresher on a subject matter.
Yeah. Yeah. That is my favorite way. Read it through once, get the gist, and then go back and zero in to the things I need.
Yeah.
When I was reading it, I ended up snapping pictures of a couple of pages of a couple of the primarily the exercises and the lists. I love lists, Meredith. So I love the lists that were in the book and sending them, to a friend who I knew needed that list or a family member. Um, what do you think about that? Like, is your hope that this will kind of have a domino effect and one reader will connect to the next reader to the next reader and just build that community, which you've already built, right? With
With smart
Souls.
girls, yeah, no, this is far reaching. This is much more far reaching. I totally, what you're doing is exactly what I was hoping for, is to be like that kind of, that moment that just resonates so much that you're like, either I love this so much I want to show it, or I know she would appreciate this because she needs this in her life right now, so I want to show it. But it's passing along helpful information. I mean, that's just the greatest thing, and that's what I hope will happen. I really do, and I think that no matter the age range of the reader, I mean, no matter the age of the reader, I love that when you share something, when someone shares something with you, you tend, you're like, oh, this is a little gift. Someone's offering me something here. They want me to know this for a good reason. And so I love that that's the way that the information gets passed along. I think that's gorgeous. I just the best way.
Yeah. It's when we connect together and, kind of vow, like, okay, I have a permission slip now that I can be myself and then I don't have to be scared of failure and then I can take action on things that matter to me. And when you find your people,
Mm.
everything just feels better. And I feel like even if you don't have that person in real life yet, you don't have that real life figure that this book acts like that person, that sense of connection of, oh, okay, maybe I don't have someone whispering this in my ear in my home, but someone is in this book. And so there is this possibility for me too.
There is. And the thing is, the more you know about yourself and you know what you like about yourself, and you find yourself more interesting for having discovered things about yourself by doing this book, then you're even more likely to find your people,
Yes.
instead of just feeling like you need to break into a certain crowd, you can actually find your people.
And that's a lesson I think is hard to learn when you are young. But when you get to this middle age and you realize just valuing yourself, liking yourself, allowing yourself to be yourself actually brings the life you want around you. It's like one of those eye-opening things that if someone could learn this earlier in this book, I would have been so grateful.
That's kind of the hope of the book. It was like, can I offer up some shortcuts?
Yeah.
Like let's save them some years and
Yeah.
start figuring it out sooner, or at least building good practices sooner.
So, what is your overall hope as this beautiful book goes into the world? What is your hope for the book or for the readers who get it in their hands?
I really hope, more than anything, I hope that readers find themselves more interesting for
Yeah.
having read the book and answered the questions, and just realizing a lot of things about themselves. I hope it offers some relief for anybody who feels that relentless pressure to achieve. There's just so much achievement stuff going on. And if you could feel a break from that for a little while and peek into a world where you're just doing stuff just to experience becoming, I hope that happens too. And I hope everybody who reads it comes away being even kinder to themselves in the moments of big mistakes, or small mistakes, or just when it's not going the way you hoped it goes. That's when we can kind of turn on ourselves so much. And I hope that if you pick up something from this, it's how to try and practice being nicer to yourself along the way. Treat yourself the way that you would treat your best friend if they came to talk to you about it, and you'll do a lot better down the road.
There really is no greater lesson than that, is there?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Can you
it's thank
imagine
you.
if we had done that a long time ago? But anyway, go
Yes.
ahead.
Yeah. That lesson and so many more are on these beautiful pages. It truly is a beautiful guidebook, a beautiful friend, something to keep close by. And I'll be sticky noting it still. I will be writing to the prompts in this book still. And I just want to thank you for putting such a beautiful book out there in the world. We need it. We need each other and we need these reminders. And I'm just grateful. Thank you. Thank you.
That means the world to me. I can't even tell you. That has just made my day so much. And thank you for taking the time to read it. And thank you for getting something out of it, for being so open to, and willing to, to learn from it and to learn about yourself from it. That's the best thing I've heard all day.
I'm glad. I was so glad. Now, before we wrap up, I would love for you to just share with listeners where they can find you and your work online. I will certainly put a link to the book in the show notes, but where's the best place to find you to keep up with what might be going on with the book and anything else?
The best place for me right now is Instagram. Just find me there. I'm Meredith at Instagram, and that's where I link to everything that I'm up to and where you can see me and what's going on. And other than that, if you want to get the book, I really encourage people to uh, find your favorite indie bookstore or a new one that you haven't tried yet, and help them out and help yourself out and go find it there. But also, if you just like doing it online, do it that way too, and put it in Google, and you'll find it anywhere you want.
Yeah. I will also add that this is a book that I think we all need to go to our public library website and request it in our public library as well, so that everybody can find it no matter what. And that's something I didn't realize that little old me could do in my library. So I'm always sharing that. So that's even one more way that we could get this book into the hands that need it.
Thank you so much. That's exactly what we need to do. Let's just get it into as many hands as we can, and then let's just all live in a better world together.
Yeah. What a beautiful way to end the episode. Oh, that was perfect. Thank you, Meredith, for coming on. I really appreciate it. I loved talking about it.
That was really fun. And it was all the more fun because you really cared and like put yourself into it. Thank you so much. Your questions were amazing. That was a really fun conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. And listeners, thank you for listening to another episode of KidLit Love, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the KidLit Love podcast. You'll find links to all of the books, resources, and ideas mentioned in the show notes and at alitlife.com. You'll also find KidLit Love on Substack. That's where you'll find posts for each episode, monthly KidLit roundups, and an invitation to join my summer book club and go deeper into the world of children's literature. And if you loved this podcast and want more, you might like to listen to my other podcast called Get Literate. It's a podcast that explores all things books and reading, notebooks and writing to build a life you love. One more thing. If you loved what you listened to today, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast, or take a screenshot of the episode and text it to a friend. This helps the podcast grow and builds our bookish community of KidLit Love. Thanks for listening.